Ciao, everyone. Buona domenica, or if you're watching this on another day, hope you're having a great day. And thank you for joining us on this first Sunday of 2021. Ching, ching to that. Ching, ching. What are you having today?
Hi, Brandy.
Nice, brandy time. Hey, I'm really excited about our guest, Anthony. We're going to bring him up in just a little bit. It's such a great story. He's from Everett, Massachusetts, and moved to Sicily.
I'll tell you what, he knows a lot about being an expat now and the process to go through. So if anybody has any questions about, wanting to come here, between him and I, we should be able to
make sure you leave a comment below.
He's probably the nicest guy in the whole island. I love this guy. I really do.
Can we talk about the Befana? You guys know who this is?
The little witch.
Does anyone watching this celebrate the Befana?
That's going to be on the 6th.
She's a cute little Befana. So what happens here in Italy is on the 5th, on the eve of the Epiphany, the little witch goes around and gives coal, carbone, or caramella candy to the nice kids.
You know what the story, what the backstory is on that?
Coal is for the back kids. Wait a sec. Okay. 2 words for you guys. Caramella, candy, carbone, coal.
So the backstory is when Jesus was about right after he was born in Bethlehem, the 3 magi, those 3 guys from wherever they were looking for him.
The wise guys.
They were following the North Star. They were looking for him. And they went into Bethlehem and they said, hey, do you know where the infant is? And she was too busy for them. She was cleaning her house and she says, no, get out of here. So they kind of left, but they found her. I think they had Google. They had Google Maps.
Of course they had.
They had Google Maps.
Santa Claus had Google Maps
too. They found that little barn that they was in. But afterwards, she felt guilty. Mm-hmm. And so she decided she was going to go look for baby Jesus herself to pay her respects. But by the time that she got organized to find him, guess what? They weren't there anymore. Allegedly.
And along the way, she would give candy and coal to kids, right?
No. What happened was, as the time passed by, she's still looking for him. That's why she goes around giving candy and stuff. She's still looking for the infant Jesus. She hasn't found him yet.
Okay,
that's the backstory.
Okay, let's say hello to some people. Joe and Sue. Hi, Esther and Alfred, waiting today's chat. Jim's Ingram. Ciao, Jim. Oh, we have Jody DeLuca. Buongiorno, California. Hey, where are you guys watching from? We've got Christine and Frank from New York. Happy birthday, Christine. Oh, that's right. Happy belated birthday, Christine. Yeah. Let's see. Who else is here? We have Canadian Charlie. Hello from your neighborhood from South Malta. Ciao. Wow. Enzo is here. Buongiorno a tutti. Hello, Enzo. Everyone. Okay.
Alexandra. Just one thing before we get started with Anthony.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of things for you people who are watching us the first time. Please make any comments. You can make 10,000 comments as far as we're concerned, but put them in the YouTube comment section.
Or on the chats if they're watching on the live
chat now.
Chat.
That's number 1. Number 2 is, did you know that all these chats that we do, by tomorrow, this one will be on YouTube. So
they're watching from YouTube.
You're watching from YouTube.
So you can share and replay this as many times.
Yeah, I mean, basically hit autoplay, and it's like being on the radio. You could just forget about watching us. I mean, why would you forget about watching us? But you could just, and they autoplay. Boom, 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 boom. The Rogo. We've had some great guests. We had Roberto from Giardini.
Roberto was great. If you missed Roberto, make sure you watch him. That was from New Year's Eve day. So December 31st, we published that. And by the way, are you guys subscribed to this YouTube channel? That way you know when we go live and also when we upload a video. Let me just say a few more real quick. What's
Peter?
Mama cooking for us? Hello from New York. I saw here it is. Peter Scapoletti. Buongiorno. I started Alfred's book, Gaetano's Trunk. Highly recommended. Love it. Hi, I'm Sicilian. If needed, I could help to move here. Great.
Brava.
Valeria Speranza. Where are you watching from, Valeria? Leave us a comment. Sean Lewis, and I think I saw Mr. Genaio, Alessandro Genaio is here as well. Okay, so, look at that. Maria is here from Boston. Buona domenica, Felice.
Hi, Maria. We were just talking about you for, You were here with Christmas last year. Was it last year?
No, she was here last year. I believe it was June.
Anyways, we miss you,
Okay,
Maria.
so without
Right. Further ado,
our guest is Anthony Campanella. Ciao. Now, let me tell you a bit about Anthony. He is a former Marine. He also was in the Marine for 6 years, I believe, right? And then federal government, you worked for 7 years and worked under the Clinton White House, 97 to 99. He's from Everett, Massachusetts, and now lives in Marina D'Avola. And wait till you hear his story about moving here. But I just love following you on Facebook because you've got great cooking things going on. You've got a farm, always something going on with Anthony. But let's start out with why you moved here, how you met Alfred, and what it took you to move to Sicily.
Sure, absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. So it's always been a lifelong dream. All four of my grandparents had emigrated from Sicily. My mother's family is from Pietroperzia. My father's family is from Messina. And obviously they romanticized about how lovely the island is. And by all accounts, it really is. And it was always just became a pipe dream. And I was lucky enough that when I was in the Marine Corps, that I did 2 floats in the Mediterranean in 1988 and 1989 in the middle of the summer. So we were hitting every single port in the Med and having a great time in and around here. And it just kind of solidified it, but still became a pipe dream. But then when I was in DC, I had gone home for Christmas or a holiday, and I went up to All Things Sicilian in Lawrence, and I saw a book there. It was called Many Beautiful Things by Vincent Schiavelli, who's an American actor, American Sicilian actor, who did make the transition from being an American to moving here. And Polizzi Generoso is the city he was from. And granted, he had a whole lot more money than I had, but reading his transition was what spurred me to say, okay, I can actually do this and not just have it be a pipe dream that, geez, I'd really like to do this someday. And then I started to plan to make it happen, and here I am.
And actually, the store you got it at was Alfred's store,
yeah,
right?
All Things Sicilian.
And so walk us through some of the things that you had to go through to prepare to move here to Sicily.
Sure. And I would say, from my perspective, it was a little bit unique because obviously I would recommend if you have the opportunity to get dual citizenship through juris sanguis, you do that before you come here. But because of my job, the U.S. government kind of, I won't say takes umbrage, but they don't particularly like it when you try to pledge allegiance to a foreign government when you have a security clearance with the United States government. So I had to actually wait until I left my job to go ahead and apply for citizenship. So I moved here without a permesso di soggiorno. Just, as a regular tourist, I just came here with my passport, landed on the ground, bought a house, and applied for citizenship on the ground here. It made it a little bit more difficult than it needed to be, but it still was, the process is pretty straightforward as long as you have your documentation. And like I said, most of my wounds were self-inflicted.
How long did it take you from start to finish to get your citizenship?
Well, it took me less than a year. The big hang-up was the woman in the comune here, because it's very strange. You apply at your local comune, at your local city hall. The woman here was hung up on the fact that my mother's birth certificate, her first name was Serafina, and on her marriage certificate, my birth certificate, her death certificate, her name was Sarah. And she couldn't make the linkage between Serafina and Sarah. So that caused me about 6-7 months of litigation in the US, because Massachusetts is a point-in-time state, a temporal state. They wouldn't amend her record, either my birth certificate or her birth certificate, to rectify the name. So we actually had to go to a probate court in the US to have the judge issue a decree that said, I have reviewed a body of evidence and I have made the determination that the woman listed on this birth certificate as Serafina Di Natale is the same person listed on this birth certificate as Sarah Campanella, my mother's married name.
Anthony, lots of people thanking you for your service. Of course, we thank you. We have people here from Scotland, from Boston, from New York, from Canada, from California. Where else are you watching from? I wanted to ask you, how did you start working with Alfred and talk about the property in Pietroperzia?
Sure. So prior to coming here, I had, again, another one of my pipe dreams, which has not come to fruition yet, but may still, is I've always wanted to buy my grandmother's childhood home. It's Via Pane Numero 11, right there in Pietrapezia. If anybody goes by, it is a shack by all imaginations. It's in the worst part of the town for as far as poor and poverty goes. And it's crumbling. And how they fit 6 kids into this house, I have no idea. But I was looking at purchasing it. So I talked to Alfred beforehand because there was a for sale sign on it and said, this is a great opportunity. However, I did make one mistake. You know, in the United States, we normally would do, your due diligence, make sure that the home was, there's no back taxes, the home's not in somebody else's name. So Alfred and his partner were helping to do that back story to make sure that there weren't anything wrong with the ownership of the house. And there wasn't. The only problem was that the woman who owned the house became aware that I was doing this backstory. And the reason I was doing it was because it was my grandmother's house. And then she multiplied the cost of the house by 10 times. So needless to say, I did not buy the house, and it's still sitting there and it's still vacant. And someday we will find a way to make it.
We did an entire episode, Pietrapezia. It's a cute little town.
Yes.
It's a great little town.
Friendly people.
Jody's looking forward to applying in Sicily as soon as the COVID restrictions are lifted. Camille is watching from the state of Georgia. Enzo was born in Sicily, so it would take probably less than 6 months to get dual citizenship.
It's only as good as the documents that you present to the local town hall, the comune. The problem is that most of the town clerks in Sicily, they don't know how to process this stuff because not too many people come, and they're very suspicious, especially if somebody kind of like just drops into a town where there isn't any roots. Okay, and they give people hard times with that. Yeah, it's a very. I mean, in Anthony's case, he was very lucky to get it in as quickly as he possibly did, but he was diligent about it. So now I heard you're a gentleman farmer. Is this what this is?
Wait a second. I want to bring something. Maria, it says hello from Revere. We also have someone watching from Washington, D.C. Ciao, Diane. Let's see. Marta is here from Enna.
Ciao, Marta.
Hey, if you guys have a chance, make sure you watch the interview with Marta from Enna. It was great. She talked all about the little city up on top of the hill. Anthony, who are these people?
Okay, so the woman who's standing in the back row, that is my grandmother, and on both sides of her are her 2 brothers, and that's her brother and sister in front of her. So these are the 5 Trippies that emigrated from Pietrapezia in 1911 to Boston. To East Boston was where they settled.
So where do they go? To Eastie? They went to East Boston?
They went to East Boston. Yep.
Great town.
Wait a second. Isn't that also the cover of your
olive oil? It absolutely is. So leads us right into the farm. So I was not in the market for a farm by any stretch of the imagination. But I have a friend here who has a padrona she rents from, and she had a farm. The woman was 80 years old, has 3 children, 10 grandchildren. None of them wanted to take on the property, and she wasn't able to keep up with the work it takes to maintain the farm. So my friend asked me if I'd take a look at it, and I went up there, and in 30 seconds, I knew this is it. It has 120 trees, 50 of them are olive trees, and 70 assorted fruits and nuts. You name it, I've got it, from oranges to lemons to cherries to peaches to apples to pomegranates, melograne, you name it, we've got it. We have almond trees and walnut trees and carob trees on the nut side. And it's got about an acre of completely tilled land ready to work.
How far away from Avila is it?
It's about a 25-minute drive. I mean, it's like 3 miles, but a 25-minute drive because it's up. If you're taking the road up to Cava Grande, it's about 9 to 10 switchback turns and straight up a hill. I think it's like a 3,000-foot climb, and then you get to where the farm is.
So have you been learning all about how to take care of olive trees and how to do this and how to do that?
Yeah, I am a proud graduate of YouTube University. I think I watch probably 10 to 15 videos a day on how to prune trees, when to prune them, what to fertilize with, how to make compost, how to, when to plant your potatoes, when to plant your garlic. So, yep.
Well, wait a minute now. How was the harvest? Did you like anything grow this year?
Yeah. So, okay. So, well, I would assume that the cherries and the mulberries were very good because the birds ate all them before I had a chance to grab one. So those were gone. Figs, I had figs coming out my ears. I had pears coming out my ears. I have oranges coming out my ears. Kakis, what are kakis? Sharon fruits.
Persimmons.
Persimmons. I have a ton of persimmons. What didn't do well this year was the pomegranates. I have a huge tree, and I got maybe 4 pomegranates off of it. And the Cotonia, the Melacatonia that they make a lot of jams out of here, that didn't do well this year. But we'll see.
Well, let me read a few. Roseanne Rose says, I need to go to probate court. Every court I went to didn't know what to do. A one in the same letter.
Yeah, it's called a one in the same letter. What you have to do is you could do a pro se by yourself. But the first thing you do is you go to the clerk in the probate office and you say, hey, here's what the story is. And you say, this is my mother. She was, he was a Giuseppe, but over here in the States, he was Joseph. So we have to prove that he was one and the same person. So what you do is you do an affidavit, and then on the penalties of perjury and any supporting documentation that you have. And then the judge looks at it, signs off on it. Now, once you get that, they're not going to take it in Italy because it's in English. So then you have to get it translated, and it has to be apostilled. You get that at the Secretary of State's office. Now you're ready to go. So now that problem is fixed. So, but there's a few steps that you have to go through. That's for sure.
You have some fans here. Roseanne Rose says, I enjoy Anthony's post. Andrew Parisi, originally from Lawrence. Ciao, Nancy Moranto from Arizona. Good to see Nancy.
Nancy Moranto loved the Sheffalo piece.
Her family's from
Sheffalo.
By the way, I just posted that too. We posted Sheffalo a few days ago. Camille says, my distant cousins in Sicily show historical diversity. Women from barely 5 feet tall to 6 feet tall. Redheads to brown and black hairs, and also blondes, Camille, right? From all the different people that came here.
Sure. My grandfather, Gaetano Teresi, was a redhead. And come to find out that we probably have some Norman blood in there, or French blood, or maybe even German blood. Who knows?
Christine Canilo is called a name as affidavit. Okay, Peter Scapiletti has a question. Does Anthony have a problem with animals, critters damaging his crops? Peter, by the way, is also a farmer, right? Peter, if I remember correctly?
Peter has the largest, he's a tomato man.
That's right.
He's got, I don't know how many, over, I think 100 varieties of tomatoes. He's dying to get some seeds from Sicily, but you have to be very careful when you send over the seeds from Sicily. They have to be USDA approved. If somebody just goes and buys some seeds at a market, like any kind of a market, and they're not USDA approved, what happens is at customs, not only will they grab them, but they'll issue a $500 fine for trying to bring in seed. And you can understand that some of the stuff that was brought in has been invasive.
So Anthony, in Peter's question?
Sure. Birds, wasps, and I got some aphids on some trees and the ants that are around here. But as far as anything going for my peppers and potatoes and things like that, I have not had an issue. Just the flying type insects that have been going after it. And I have so much that I almost kind of sacrifice some of them. And I say, okay, you guys can have this tree and stay away from everything else. Because I figure if I get them off that tree, they may go elsewhere. And I did have an issue with the Punta Rosa here. So I have 2 big palm trees, or I should say had 2 big palm trees. And there's this invasive beetle that came from Egypt. And this whole palm tree just collapsed completely over and timbered on me one day. So I'm very worried about the second tree, although I've had a tree man tell me I shouldn't be worried about it. And I was just going to circle back on one thing, Alfred, which was kind of interesting. Everybody is different here, and every case is different. And it's so funny because my cousins are going for dual citizenship. And when I went here and the woman had a problem with Serafina and Sarah, she said, oh, I wouldn't have a problem if it were Giuseppe and Joseph because that's so common, no problem. So now my cousin is getting it done in the States, and at the consulate in Boston, they had a problem because my grandfather's name on his birth certificate was just Natale for last name. And obviously when he came to the United States, it became Di Natale.
Yep.
Here, the woman had no problem with that whatsoever. At the consulate in Boston, they have a problem with Di Natale and Natale.
You know what the story is? Let me give you the back history. You got a quick back history on this if I possibly can. Right now, the last 5 years, the consulates have been blown over with people wanting to come. But it's really not caused by the Americans. It's caused by the South Americans. Brazil, Argentina. There was a lot of fascists after the war. They left, okay? Chile. And what happened is they've received over 500,000 applications from South America, which has overwhelmed all the consulates. Now, the consulates have been suffering tremendously from economic cutbacks. So what used to be 7 or 8 consular officials processing this stuff is now down to 2 or 3. And so basically in some of these places, for example, Houston or Miami, you'll have to wait 2 years to get an appointment, Anthony. 2 years. Can you imagine that? So it's a lot easier if you do have your documents, make sure they're all, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. Come to Italy, and you'll have to probably stay here at least 6 weeks to 10 weeks, rent a place, and process it here quicker. But the money that the time that you'll save is just unbelievable. So that's one of the things you can do.
Okay. Ed Mice says, hire me as a worker on your farm. We've got another question from Sicilian question. Since you live right in between Priolo and Gela, what do you think about large refining complexes in Sicily? Are you worried about any potential health issues related to air pollution? Sicilian, great question.
Sure. Personally, I am not. I mean, I know that the folks up in Priola are constantly saying that the air quality is horrible, and just in the last 20 years, how many health problems they've had up there. I'm far enough away from it. This is a selfish answer. I'm far enough away from it that we haven't seen any of the health effects down here. But clearly, it is an issue in Priola, the one that I'm more familiar with. And I've sailed around down by Gela, and I've seen all the stuff that's down there. But personally, I am not. But I think, if you're near if you're close to one of those places, clearly it's a problem.
We just went to Malelli. We did a piece in Malelli. It's a beautiful town. It's right by Augusta, right by the port over there. They had to move that town from where it was up above because of the refineries there. Yeah. But in terms of pollution, there's much more than just industrial pollution. Right over here in our beautiful place over here in Arcitrezza Castello, once a year they always discover 3 or 4 pipes that are discharging untreated sewage right over here. And what happens, Anthony, is that they close down the beach because with the hot water and the bacteria and this and that. Right. Not to mention, as we all know, the garbage issue where people discard the garbage. So when you talk about pollution, besides air pollution, you've got all sorts of pollution. And I think that they're trying to be, but they're not really up to speed.
I have to say that my first year here was 2014, and I've seen the garbage issue definitely improve, especially in our areas and many other areas. And a few years ago, believe it or not, they didn't have recycling. They started recycling here. Yeah. Now, do people follow it or not? We have an issue here we have one of our neighbors in our complex, apparently is watching like a hawk because he put out a sign making sure that you bring out the exact day that you're supposed to get rid of the foods, the plastics, the paper in another bin. And then he discovered that someone, wasn't us, put a plastic in the paper bin, and he was all upset about it. But the reality is that it's just a start and not everyone is following it.
You know, the biggest thing is, Esther, is the dog poo.
The dog poo.
Huh, Anthony? At least they started to fine people $50 if they don't pick up their dog poo. But you could walk into Arci Castello, Arcitrezza, and you're looking around at the beautiful blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden,
All right, let's say hello to Alyssa from Long Island, New York. Camille says there are a great movie on Sicilian immigrants around 1915 called The Other Side.
Thank you, Camille.
I've never heard of it.
Me either.
My mom was a Teresi, says Andrew.
Yeah, I'm a Teresi.
Argentina has more people of Sicilian descent than anyone in the anywhere in the world.
Probably,
Lots of Sicilians in South America. I found a lot of my cousins living in Agrigento, in Argentina, and that's Frank talking, obviously. Jim Ingram says, when I was stationed at Sigonella, Augusta and surrounding areas were already a big problem. It took me 2 weeks to figure that out. I believe Jody DeLuca is looking at moving to Avola. She said it was one of the cleanest towns.
It's a great town.
They've got a great mayor as well. Enzo says garbage company run by the mob is where the problem is, for sure. Now,
not only the garbage companies
but a lot of other companies.
From the minute you put it in to the garbage can to the minute it leaves Sicily, that's basically has always been under the auspices of organized crime. That's for sure. Now,
I want to show you this picture. Want to know why? Because that is Anthony's kitchen table. Anthony has become quite the cook. And listen to this, you guys, okay? Just because you move to Sicily doesn't mean you have to gain weight, because Anthony has lost how many pounds?
22 now.
22 pounds by what? Getting rid of all the peas. So
all
what did
peas.
you get?
Pizza, pasta, pane, pastries, patatini fritta. If it starts with a P, except for pesce and pesca, chances are it's probably not good for your waistline.
How regularly were you eating these foods?
Well, so pastries every morning. Breakfast here is a sweet breakfast. So I was having either a cornetto or a granita every morning for breakfast. So cutting that out really, really helped a lot, not to mention the cappuccino. The pizza probably 1 to 2 times a week. It's so affordable, so good. But quite frankly, I don't know if the pizza is as fattening here as it is in the United States. It doesn't seem like it is, because you eat a whole pie and it's like, boom, gone. The bread here is made with crack. 100% they make the bread with crack here, because it's addictive. From the minute you take the first bite, you finish the entire loaf, and then you go back for a second loaf.
Now, do you go for the hard ones or the soft ones?
Oh, I go for the hard, crusty, hard road, like almost like Pianadosi's back in the day in Everett. So
what's that great in East Boston? The great pizzeria there. What's that place called?
There's Pizzeria Regina, or there's Giavelli's. There's Italian Express Pizzeria. My friend owns that one. There you go.
Where?
Italian Express Pizzeria. It's relatively new. They were on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives a couple of times.
What's your opinion of American pizza versus Sicilian pizza?
Not even close. Not even close. I mean, I thought we knew good pizza back in the States, but it's just insane here how good it is. And not even just the Neapolitan, but the local. I can never pronounce it properly. This food begins SF something. The spongy.
Tony.
Yes, that is just insanely good too.
Norman says dual citizenship wait for New York City is 2 years plus. I made my appointment in 2019, and it's not until 2022. I'm not in any hurry.
Wait a minute. I have there's a group on Facebook called Italian Dual Citizenship. It's a great group. There's over 10,000 people that belong to it. And sometimes people have an appointment, but by the time their appointment is coming up, they are not ready. So if you check there and post it, you might be able to trade your date with somebody from New York who's not ready yet. A lot of people have done that.
That's good advice. A lot of people saying, great for you, Anthony, Mata Company. Let's see, Christine said, Christine and Frank, Anthony is on Facebook. They were asking for you.
Yeah.
B and Don, ciao. Are you thinking of
Tapios?
Tapio. Thank you.
Thank you, B.
Thank you. They just opened one on Route 1 too, I believe. They have 2
Yep,
now.
it's about 2 minutes from my sister's house now, up there.
Yeah.
Enzo says, if you decide to get dual citizenship, make sure you get the tax advantage, so you are covered by their health insurance. Not sure the correct terminology.
Well, here's the thing, okay? When you get dual citizenship, like had Anthony got his dual citizenship before he bought his house. Okay, he didn't, but he was here. He would have been entitled to a one-time, first-time home buyer's discount. They would have waived 3% or something in the taxes, even though. So that's the only difference that I could possibly see. But Anthony took a lot of guts for him to come here with a suitcase, and then he said, "The heck with it, I'm going to stay." And him and I had plenty of discussions about that, but he was adamant about it. He goes, "No, I'm going to do it," and that was it. So you can't tell a Marine. You could always tell a Marine. You can't tell him much, but you could always tell a Marine.
Ed Mice says working hard on the farm probably helped you lose weight. I want to ask you,
Wait a minute, ask him. I want to hear his answer. Did working on the farm help you lose weight?
I would say yes. I would agree with that, because you are constantly moving.
A lot of physical work.
Of course, there's a lot of physical work on. James Ingram says garbage is a problem for sure. I learned that once it goes away, it belongs to Rome. If it's a problem, it's Rome issue, not a local one. Let's see. Okay, so I want to know, what are some of the things that you miss from the United States?
Probably, family and friends, right? We're supposed to say that first. I do miss my family.
Right.
No, I would say for me, I mean, I've always been active in sports. Like I played hockey, and I was playing hockey probably 3 nights a week on average, in the States, and came here. Clearly there's no ice in Sicily. So that, and I never realized just how much, whether it was either playing sports, watching sports on TV, reading about it, just the whole sports culture. I haven't gotten into soccer here. For me, I'm a typical American. Every 4 years, I'll watch the World Cup, but watching it day in and day out, watching the diving and the theatrics and the falling down when they get brushed against, it just doesn't suit me as competitive if you're going to just pretend you got killed because somebody brushed against you.
You can't touch stuff.
Now, Anthony, I saw you post, I think it was Christmas, you had lobster, you had scallops. Now, I would say that's some things that we sort of miss, good New England scallops. Yes. But you were able to find it here. Pretty expensive.
Yes, yep. And I made the mistake. So the place here in Avila does sell live lobsters that they import from Maine. And being a New Englander, it hurts our heart to say this, but they're not that expensive. It's 50, I think it was 50 euros a kilo, so about $25 a pound, which, it kills us because we're used to $3.99, go to Dabulas's and have a nice day. But I probably should have gone that route. I went to Lidl and I bought a whole Maine lobster that was frozen and pre-cooked. Horrible. It was.
You were tempted.
I had one in my hand, and I said,
"No, it's not. I don't want to be disappointed." I said, "I don't want." We have Mark Cahill. Ciao, Mark from Connecticut. Carmen says the last time I was in Sicily, in Castelvetrano, we drove around looking for dumpsters for garbage every night. Ciao, Mirko from Milano.
Marco, that's Mirko.
Mirko or Marco? Maybe that's American cars. I would miss all the American classic cars.
You would be surprised,
here,
Christine, how many
SUVs.
Land Rovers there are.
And for sure.
SUVs that there are. And
turkeys everywhere.
It's crazy. A guy in our complex, he owns 2 Lamborghinis. $150,000 cars parked, and I go by him, and there's about 2 inches to spare on either side, right, when I drive down the road. The cars here,
Jim Ingram wants to know what you're drinking, especially
it's chilly out, okay? So I'm drinking, I'm not drinking Courvoisier today. I'm drinking
this way.
I'm drinking my brandy, and I'm just smoking my stogie. It's like 5 o'clock. Right?
This is definitely Frank commenting here. He says, especially the Corvette. Let's see.
Right.
Angela is made how can Italians not watch Italian soccer?
No.
For Italia?
You know something, Anthony? I always said that if I was a bank robber or a thief, I would rob that bank during a soccer game. Everybody in the whole Italy, even the cops, they're watching the game.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy how, right?
That's
Yeah.
their football here for sure. Leave us a comment or a question for Anthony. So Anthony, you've also become quite the cook, right? You've been
Sure.
making.
I'd like to think I always was a cook, but yeah.
Like
Okay.
what are some of your favorite and in your household, do you cook Sicilian American? What do you do?
You know, we could do an hour just on this because obviously every day I ate at my grandmother's house growing up. My grandmother was born and raised in Pietrapassia, so everything she made me was traditional Sicilian cooking, right? I mean, that's what you think. And then I come here and I find out my entire childhood was a lie because, you know, when she went to America, I mean, she had to beg, borrow, and steal from her, you know, Napolitano neighbors or Polish neighbors, German neighbors, whoever, because there's different cuisine in America. It's affordable and available. And they had to create using, you know, obviously some old world techniques and some new world, like what do I do with this kind of a stuff. And
Yeah.
they created this cuisine that we've all now come to know as, you know, what we thought was Sicilian, but it's really Sicilian American or Italian American cuisine. And it's so different here. Like even the zucchinis, the lentils, the way we do them in the States, Swiss chard. I made my Swiss chard here thinking, you know, this is great. This is traditional Sicilian Swiss chard. And everybody looked at me like, why would you do that to Swiss chard? So, but yeah, I make all the stuff that my grandmother made when we were kids.
What was the main difference?
Well, we saute them in a tomato broth, almost like a soup, and they would just, you know, steam them or grill them. Same thing with the zucchinis; they just grill them, and we would make a potato and zucchini stew in a tomato sauce type arrangement, and just little things like that.
Zucchini on everything.
Yeah.
Pasta, pizza. Camille wants to know, Anthony, how did you make friends in Sicily?
Well, I have this horrible personality. People avoid me anyways. No.
Come
on.
No. I mean, before I came here, I have been to more than 40 countries. So I'm used to assimilating and going into new places and learning. I think you just have to be inquisitive and you want to know about the people who live with you, the people you're living around. You just go out there and talk to them. I spend good time. This will come off wrong in the States, but I spend a lot of time at the bar. Here in Italy, as you know, bars are
the bar is not like a drinking bar; it's a coffee bar,
a coffee shop. Yeah, so I sit there. I have my own little crowd at the coffee shop. I have the woman who I call La Regina, who's the queen of the coffee shop, and Il Sindaco, the mayor of the coffee shop, and just sit there and little by little, pick up the language. If you try to speak the language, they're more than happy to help you and coax you along. And so I just get out and do things. I mean,
I found that very useful for me for my first year coming here. Is just going out daily to the market, talking to people, joining a gym was very helpful in meeting some people and also practicing my language. Right.
Yep.
Let me just say this, okay, about Anthony. I've known the man for 10 years, and of all the expats that I've met the last 20 years here, and I've met a ton, Anthony is the best ambassador for the United States that Americans can possibly have here. Okay, I mean, I'm not kidding you. I mean, the guy, if you cut open his heart, there's Sicily inside of it. But not only that, he's a good person. And he was on in the height of the COVID thing a few months ago. We asked Anthony to come on and give a few words of encouragement. You remember that? He was very
inspirational. We did a whole series, Voices from Sicily and Voices from Italy during.
This is the type of man that Sicily needs. He took some land that an 80-year-old woman had that was falling into disrepair because for sure no one was going to buy it, right? Yep. And he brought it back to life. So I'm thrilled that he's here. I wish we could find another 100 Anthonys to come here to Sicily.
Definitely a treasure.
Yep.
Anthony, Alessandra wants to know, did your grandparents live in the Boston North End?
Mainly in East Boston. I mean, when my grandmother and grandfather were married, they were living in the North End. But I would say we're more Eastie people than we were the North End people.
Great town.
Frank and Christina is his wife, and he's using his account, I'm guessing. Anthony, when we come to Sicily next, we will come visit you. If you are a friend of Alfred, I'm sure we would hit it off.
No, he's a great
He's a
guy.
friend of us for sure. Swiss chard, saute in olive oil and garlic.
Yummy.
Simply yummy. That's
I'm
the way I
addicted to
like
broccoli
it.
ravi.
That's the way I like
I
it.
can have-
Anthony, do you speak Sicilian or Italian? Great question.
That is a great question. So I speak Italian and I speak Sicilian English. You know, all those bastardized words that my grandmother and my mother taught me that mean absolutely nothing here, like bacausa for bathroom. You know, so and the Woolamanies when you have a craving for something. But I speak Italian. I think it's funny because my neighbors here are adamant about that I need to learn Sicilian, and it's just too hard for me to learn right now. I want to grasp my Italian a whole lot better before I venture off into Italian. So we've come to a very good agreement here with my neighbors. I speak Italian to them, and they understand every word I say. They speak Sicilian back to me, and I don't understand a single word. So that's how we work it.
Wait, let me read a couple of these.
Yeah.
Jody says, I'm looking forward to being neighbors in Avola with Anthony. Maria says, Anthony, you're an inspiration for my journey moving to Sicily.
Yes, he is.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, bacausa. Let's see, Joe and Sue, there are so many Italian slang words. What are some of the slang words that you have?
What?
Well, you know bedu and beda. Everyone knows that. What are some of their slangs?
Bo. How's that for a Sicilian word?
I'm not gonna get into a linguistics thing over here
Bacausa.
because I'm at such an advanced level. Forget it. Listen, Anthony, while I have you here, because you're very hard to get a hold of because you're always picking fruit and so forth.
Or cooking.
We would like to have you come gallivanting with us on 1 or 2 episodes of You, Me, and Sicily. I think it would be great because, you know, right now, about over 100 people from what I see are falling in love with you. So now you're a celebrity.
Ed Mice, I would love to meet Anthony when I get
Great
a chance
guy,
to come
great
to
guy,
Sicily.
yeah.
You seem like a real nice guy.
Yeah.
Down to earth, nice guy, intelligent, and easy on the eye. How's that?
Well, you were so strong there for a while.
You're single, right, Anthony?
What's that?
You're single, right?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
My cousins in Connecticut laughed at me with my Sicilian. I heard bacausa all the time growing up here. Only a few more minutes with Anthony. Hey, folks, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel so you get notifications. Hey, you know what I'm working on this week?
What?
Just finished Sheffield, and now I'm working on Partinico,
which
is in the province of Palermo.
Yeah.
And has an incredible sanctuary at the most remote area. We have to go through fields and plains and all these things. And there's this beautiful sanctuary in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of nature, with beautiful ceramic stairs and ceramic pictures. And there's quite a following there of in that sanctuary.
Anthony, you have to come over here. You still haven't come over here. And you still have my olive oil, by the way?
Yes, I do. Yep, it's right here on the table. But as soon as Musmeci tells me it's okay to travel again, you know, I'm a rule follower.
Yeah. No, I know. So am I. Yeah. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on the
Thanks
show.
for having me.
I'm quite sure that in the future you're going to be one of our regulars.
We are definitely going to have you on again.
We love you.
Oh, I love you. And now it's time to go make my zucchini and potato stew. Sacrilege.
Okay, we're going to stay on here for another couple of minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony.
He was really, really entertaining. Very good. Anthony.
He's a great guy.
Funny. And you're right. He's so good for the earth, Sicily.
He was
I have
very
a lot of
understated on what he did for our country. Okay? The guy is a hero, period. But he would never say so. But I can say so. The guy is an American hero. He's done a lot for our country. And I'm thrilled that he's here. Seriously. Hey, listen, just a couple other things, or a couple of house cleaning things.
Yeah.
All right. Some of you new people, you know, we would appreciate it if you come back. If you come back on and watch our shows. We love to have new people. Also, if you don't have any time to watch our show on Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time, the next day it's on our channel.
Or they may be watching from California, like Joe. Or a lot of our fans are from Australia.
Yep. You can just watch it on our YouTube the next day, and if you press autoplay, I mean, you could be doing your housework or work and stuff, and it's almost like a radio. You don't have to watch it.
Well, the shuffle of the episodes.
The episodes are different, but our chats are great just because we have a lot.
Paul Montello says, thanks for the shuffle video. I was looking for my cousins. Yeah, I know, Jody. It's 7 a.m. there.
I know.
Thank you, Jody. Did they get around to cutting your tree?
No, they're doing it this week.
No, they still haven't cut that.
They're going to do it this week.
Anthony
hopefully.
says, James Ingram says, thanks, Anthony.
Semper Fi, correct.
What's Mama cooking for us? I just asked Anthony to be my friend. Anthony,
Facebook.
if you're still listening, because you are, I can see you. Deborah Polino just friended you. I expect you're going to get a lot more. Enzo says he was born in Agrigento.
Yes.
Joe says, great show. Everyone really enjoyed the show.
Next Sunday.
Oh, next Sunday is going to be another good show.
Let me just tell you about this fellow that we're going to have on. We were talking about points of light in Sicily. Remember we had Roberto on last week. We are going to have on the preeminent professor from the University of Catania, my pal, Professore Rosario Faraci, who is doing great things with internet incubation companies, okay?
He's actually the head of Sicily now and going forward. And how people have been reinventing themselves during this period. He's been doing a lot of webinars and doing a lot of writings and research for the local newspapers.
He speaks fluent English because he was a visiting professor for several years in Texas. I believe it was Texas Tech or Texas A&M. He and his wife went to Texas for several years, and he loves America. But a lot of the ideas that Sato, they call him Sato, I call him Sato, has can be very easily adapted to internet stuff in the States for people who are looking for something to do. So be a good show next week too.
Okay, Fred McNeil from Scotland, great guest. This was a great guy. Anthony, a true hero and inspiration.
Thank you, Maria. And you're an inspiration too.
Before you guys go, I just want to show you this view.
Today,
just in case you're new here. This is our office. This is our view. By the way, that's the tree that was supposed to come up couple of weeks ago, but still hasn't. So I'm going to give you a little bit more peek before we sign off on this first Sunday of 2021. Thank you so much, Jody DeLuca.
Anthony. We love you.
Thank you, Jody, for that super chat. Thank you. Great show.
Jody, thank you so much. We love you,
Jody. I found your show listening to the Sicilian Corner. Love it. Thank you so much.
That's my brother. Thank you, guys. God bless you.
All right.
You still have, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You still have 362 more chances to improve your life in 2021. Okay? It's a new day. Wash off all that 2020 stuff. It's a new day. It's a new light. And we have 362 more chances. Don't we, Bunny?
We do.
Okay. God bless you. Ciao.